The bargain no one makes. In a time when the world was younger and the sea whispered secrets to those who dared listen, there lived a young woman named Anya. She dwelt in a village of gray stones and sighing winds, where the houses clung to the cliffs like barnacles, and the only wealth was fish and fortitude. Anya's father was the keeper of the lighthouse, a tower of white stone that speared the coastal fog. But a great storm had taken him, and with him the family's small comfort. The lighthouse lamp had grown cold, and without its guiding eye, the ships gave their rocky coast a wide and weary berth. Hunger, that gray guest, had taken a chair by every hearth. Anya's own burden was a song that had died in her throat. She had once sung so sweetly that the gulls would circle silent to listen, and the fishermen swore her tunes could charm the herring into their nets. But sorrow for her father had stolen her voice, leaving only a painful rasp. Her beauty, too, seemed weathered by grief, her eyes shadowed, her hands chapped and strong from tending the cold, dormant light. One evening, as she stood on the wind-lashed rocks, staring at the foam where her father had been swallowed, the water before her began to swirl, not with the storm's fury, but with an eerie green calm. From the depths rose a head crowned with dripping kelp and seashells, a face of ancient, terrible allure. It was Morwenna, the Sea-Witch, whose voice was the sound of waves crashing in a deep cave. "Anya of the silent throat," Morwenna hissed, a smile playing on lips the color of a bruise. "I see your grief. I see the cold tower. I hear the hunger in your village's belly. I can make it right." Anya, though afraid, did not flinch. She met the creature's opal eyes. "For a price?" Anya rasped, the words scraping her throat. "For a price?" Morwenna laughed, and the sound was like sinking ships. "A classic price. Give me the thing you think is worthless, that ruined, rasping voice. In return, I will give you a beauty unimaginable, hair like liquid moonlight, skin like polished pearl, eyes that hold the sunset. With such beauty, you could wed a prince from the sunlands and save your wretched village with his gold." Anya thought of the vanity of princes. She thought of her voice, the last living piece of her joy, broken as it was. To sell it felt like selling her father's memory. She shook her head. "No." Morwenna's eyes narrowed. "So, proud and practical, then another bargain. I will give you the power to command the sea itself. You could summon fish to your nets, calm storms, make the very waves bear your village's ships safely to rich markets. Your name would be a legend. Your power would be a dynasty." She leaned closer, her breath salt and decay. "All I ask is what you do not yet have, your firstborn child." A chill colder than the deep sea shot through Anya. She saw a phantom future, a babe with her father's eyes, given to this green gloom. To trade a life not yet lived for power felt like a theft from the world itself. Again her throat ached, but her resolve was clear. "No," she whispered, "I will not mortgage a future soul." Rage twisted Morwenna's beautiful face. "Fool, you choose the hard path over the easy one? You refuse beauty and refuse power? Then you shall have neither, and I curse your path. The wind will hide its secrets from you, the sea will cloak its treasures, and your own hands will seem useless." With a hiss, she vanished beneath the waves, leaving only froth and a lingering sense of dread. The harder path began the next morning. Anya looked at the cold lighthouse. She could not sing for gold. She could not command the sea. but she had eyes and hands and a mind that grief had not stolen. She remembered her father's words. "The light is just a tool, girl. The true guide is understanding." She began to study, not magic, but the world. She climbed the cliffs at dawn to watch the fog patterns. She charted the tides on scraps of parchment, noting how they danced with the moon. She spent nights in the cold lantern room, not lighting the great lamp, but observing the stars through the salt-caked glass, learning their slow wheel. She saw what others did not. She noticed a particular seabird only gathered before a shift to southern winds. She saw how a certain seaweed grew griddle when a deep, cold current shifted, promising a run of fat cod. Her rasping voice could not sing, but it could ask questions of the oldest fisherfolk, piecing their fragments of knowledge into a map of understanding. Her first victory was small. Using her tide charts and bird lore, she predicted a sudden, short-lived calm and a change in the mackerel shoals. She convinced Old Man Barrett to sail where she pointed. He returned with nets overflowing. The village ate well that week, and suspicion in their eyes softened to curiosity. Next, she turned to the lighthouse. The great lamp required a rare, costly oil. Anya, studying the dense, oily blubber from a whale that had washed ashore, remembered an ancient tale of fish oil lamps. Through patient, exhausting trial, rendering, filtering, mixing with a resilient local pine resin, she devised a slower-burning, bright fuel from common fish waste. It smelled of the sea, but it burned with a clear, strong flame. The night she lit the lamp again was the hardest of her life. The witch's curse seemed real. The wind howled, threatening to snuff the new flame. The mechanism, stiff with disuse, fought her. Her hands, stained with oil and resin, blistered. She had no beauty but the sweat on her brow, no power but her stubborn will. With a groan of rust and triumph, the great beam sliced through the stormy darkness. Down in the village, a cheer went up. The Wave Rider, a merchant ship blown off course, saw the light and avoided the jaws of the rocks. Grateful, its captain paid for his salvation with a cargo of grain and seed. Years flowed like the tide. Anya never did regain her singing voice, but her spoken word, once a rasp, became clear, strong, and full of authority earned, not given. She was not beautiful in the way of princesses, but there was a radiant certainty in her gaze, a strength in her bearing that made people stop and listen. The village prospered. They followed her readings of sea and sky, which were more reliable than any weather witch's charms. The lighthouse, powered by her clever fuel, never winked out. One autumn evening, with her own young daughter Bethany sleeping by the hearth, Anya walked the cliff path. The green swirl appeared again in the calm water below. Morwenna rose, her beauty undimmed, but her eyes held a puzzled, resentful gleam. "You," the witch spat, "you have what was offered, respect, security, a child to warm your home. You climbed the mountain instead of taking the tunnel. Why?" Anya looked down at the ancient being, not with fear, but with a profound pity. "The beauty you offered was a mask that would crack. The power you promised was a leash that would choke. You trade in echoes and shadows. What I built," she said, gesturing to the warm beacon light in the village below, "casts a real shadow and throws a true light. It is mine. I did not borrow it. I did not buy it with stolen pieces of my soul. I wrought it." Morwenna stared at the lighthouse, at the sturdy boats in the harbor, at the woman on the cliff who owned herself completely. The witch's bargains required a lack, a hunger for a shortcut. Anya had none. "Your curse failed,"
Anya said softly. "The wind told me its secrets because I listened. The sea yielded its treasures because I learned its rhythms. My hands are full, not useless." With a sound like a sigh from a drowned world, Morwenna sank back beneath the waves, not in rage, but in a kind of weary defeat. She had been outwitted not by cunning, but by integrity, not by trickery, but by the slow, honest accretion of wisdom and work. And in the village they tell the tale of Anya, who refused the bargain no one makes, and in doing so won the only prize that lasts, a life and a light truly her own. They say the sea witch still offers her trades to the desperate, but along that coast parents warn their children, the easy price is always the hardest paid. Remember Anya's path. It is longer, but its footsteps are your own.